There are at least 3 ways to build most EDH decks. Strong, fun, and mean. Let's talk about the strong, fun, and mean ways I would build Kelsien the Plague, and the video starts right now. Special thanks to our Patreon supporters who power our channel. Check out our Patreon for monthly giveaways, exclusive content, and even a starring role in our fan fight series. Link in the description below. Hello and welcome to the day. Thank you for spending your time with us. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. I am Joel. We're going to talk about the 3 ways that I would build Kelsien the Plague. But first, if you like videos like this and you want to see more of them, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let me know down below if there's any commanders that you want me to build 3 different ways. Jumping over into our commander, Kelsien the Plague, we've got Mardu across the top for a Vigi Hasting 2/2 that says Kelsien the Plague gets +1/+1 for each experience counter you have. You can tap Kelsien to deal 1 damage to target creature you don't control. When that creature dies this turn, you get an experience counter. So this card wants Deathtouch so much it's crazy. The strong way that I would build Kelsien is to lean in to his tap ability. Get Deathtouch on Kelsien and have some ways that we can untap Kelsien so he's firing multiple arrows every turn. We also will look at experience counters and other ways that we might be able to get them so that Kelsien's coming back into the battlefield with more +1/+1. The fun way that I would build Kelsien is lean into odd CMCs and make Obosh our companion. And then the mean way that I would build Kelsien is land destruction, believe it or not. Let's jump into the fun way. With this 3-way video, like others I've made, the strong way is really what I would recommend as your base of operations for how you build this deck. I would lean into the Deathtouch, I would lean into the tap ability. We really want to get as much payoff for that as we can. Then you can either have it fun payoff with an Obosh companion or some other fun way that you might like, or you can have it pay off in a mean way with the land destruction, which we'll get to. If we're going to get Deathtouch onto Kelsien, there's no better way that I can think of than Basilisk Collar. Equipped creature has Deathtouch and lifelink, 1 cost, 2 equip, straight up, we've got it. Kelsien is all of a sudden killing anything that it taps to deal damage to. Retreat to Hagra. Let's get creative with how we do this. 1 black, 2 other for a landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, choose 1. Target creature gets +1/+0 and gains Deathtouch until end of turn. That's the main way that we are going to be using this retreat. However, if we do get to a point where we just need to burn everybody else down, each opponent abilities are always going to be good and fun in EDH. And this one, everybody loses a life, you gain 1 life. We wish it said you gain life equal to the life lost this way, but we'll take the 1 life if we can drain each opponent for 1 life. Gorgon Flail, here's another way, straight up, equipment, 2 cost, equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has Deathtouch, equip 2, easy, 3 cost to cast Kelsien the first time, 2 mana left over if you're at 5 mana, automatically giving him Deathtouch, automatically killing the biggest threats on the board. Gorgon's Head, here's another way, 1 mana, equipped creature has Deathtouch, equip 2. Straight up. These are pretty straightforward, you know. Quite a Spike. Here's one that I like. 3 cost, equipped creature has Deathtouch. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses half of his or her life. Round it up. Equip of 3. It's a little more expensive to get onto the battlefield and to equip it onto the creature, but we do have a kind of residual effect that's very cool. They don't want to let the creature with quite a spike through because they're going to be losing half their life instead of just hitting for the combat damage that would happen. Void Beckoner, here's another creative way of doing it. We can pay 3 to cycle the card, put a Deathtouch counter on target creature we control, Kelsien, and draw a card so we can just filter this into our graveyard. And then late game, if you just need an 8/8 Deathtoucher for 8, booyah, we got you right here. And then maybe the best one we've got. This is an equipment that I think is necessary in this deck. This starts to move into the untap ability. We've got some ways to get Deathtouch on there. We've got some redundancy on the Deathtouch ability coming on to creatures. Thornbite Staff. Equipped creature has pay 2, tap it. This creature deals 1 damage to target creature player. We don't need that. And whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from play, untap this creature. That is so sick. It turns our Kelsien into a machine gun that can wipe an entire board. Equip a 4 for a 2-cost artifact, but this card, this is just your best combo in here. This is one of the artifacts that you're going to want to go and get with any tutors that you put in here. Let's look and see if we've got some other ways to untap him. Here's a humble little way to untap him. Pay 2 for Jandor's Saddlebags. Pay 3, tap it, untap target creature. 2 kills a turn? That's better than 1. It's not hugely impactful, it's not ridiculous, but it's redundancy on the untap ability, which is what you want if you're really trying to look for a consistent strategy. Redundancy. You want the ability on as many ways as you can. Pay 1, Mage Rite Stone. Tap it, untap target creature with an activated ability that with tap in its cost. There you go. There's another way, more redundancy, to get multiple triggers of Kelsien per turn so we can be wiping the opponent's boards. 1,000-year elixir. Here's another way. You can activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste. We don't need that. It's already got haste. We're good there. But it's a 3-cost artifact that says pay 1, tap it, untap target creature. Strictly better Jandor's Saddlebags. But we do kind of want to run both unless we need to start making cuts, because we want redundancy. We want Kelsien to be able to fire 2 arrows every turn at the very least so that we're killing a lot of creatures. Redundancy is just what it is all about for me. And here's a reconnaissance. So this one's a little weird, but 1 white for an enchantment that says 0, remove target attacking creature you control from combat and untap it. Okay, so you would activate, you would declare it as an attacker, okay? You activate its ability after it's declared as an attacker, and then you can pay 0 to remove it and untap it, effectively getting to use its ability again. This doesn't let you go infinite because you do have to have Kelsien declared as an attacker to be able to target it with reconnaissance, but it is a way for us to get 2 activations of Kelsien's ability. Now, we've looked at a bunch of equipment, we've looked at a bunch of artifacts. How about we open the armory? 1 white, 1 other, search your library for an aura or equipment card, reveal it, and put it in your hand. This to me says go get Thornbite Staff. That's it. That's all you really need it to say. That's how another way that we can get redundancy is have tutors in the deck for the specific card that we want. This, to me, looks like a 2nd copy of Thornbite Staff. How about a 3rd copy of Thornbite Staff? Steel Shaper's Gift. 1 white, search your library for an equipment card, reveal that card, put it into your hand, shuffle your library. Boom. We just put another copy of Thornbite Staff into our deck. How about another copy? Let's look at Stoneforge Mystic. 1 white, 1 other. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for an equipment, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your library. Pay 2, you can put an equipment card from your hand right onto the battlefield. Not super relevant with some of the equipment that we've highlighted in this list so far, but if you are going an equipment route with some of these cards that specifically tutor up equipment, you can put some very powerful stuff in there alongside the things that really lean in to Kelsien's synergies. Now, we're already going to be doing this entire plan of having a pinger in Kelsien, killing things by giving it the ability to Deathtouch and hopefully giving it the ability to untap so that we can do it multiple times. So let's lean into that. Let's go to the OG in my mind, Sharpshooter, Goblin Sharpshooter. This is one of the original, I remember, cards that ping and we can just make it go infinite. Obviously, there's cards like Prodigal Sorcerer. Pinging has been around for a long time. But with Goblin Shooter, it says whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from play, untap it. Tap it, deals 1 damage to target creature or player. Okay, so it does the untap ability all by itself. All we got to do is put that Basilisk Collar or any of the Gorgon stuff onto Sharpshooter. Pop, 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 turns into a machine gun just like Kelsien. That's more redundancy on the ability that we're looking for. Okay, let's get some more. Cunning Spark Mage. Here's another one. Pings, has haste, only 3 cost. Put a Basilisk Collar, put a Quietus Spike on here. Boom, we've got it. We're killing off creatures for just 1 little tap of 1 little pinger. I love how this ability works. Full Shock Sorcerer. 3 for a 1/1 haster, taps to deal a damage to target creature or player. There you go. Deathtouch on it. Same thing as Kelsien. We want redundancy. Here's more redundancy. Blood Cultist. And Blood Cultist also grows in a way like Kelsien. Whenever a creature dealt damage is put into a graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So this one can get bigger as we're tapping it with Deathtouch to kill a creature, and hopefully have some way to untap it multiple times so that we can use the ability over and over again. Now, I told you we were going to talk about experience counters as well. I got 2 cards to talk about with experience counters. Neither of them lean in hugely to the strategy that we have already kind of laid out for how we want to build the deck and the redundancy and the synergy that we want to have, but they do give experience counters, and so you could put some sub-themes into the deck with them. The first one is Daxos the Returned. Black-white 1 for a zombie soldier 2/2. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you get an experience counter. That's a pretty easy way to get experience counters if you're running a lot of enchantments in your deck. Could do it, get some auras, find some auras that kind of have our synergy and have our redundancy on them. Then we can use Daxos' ability, black, white, 1 other, put a white and black spirit enchantment creature token onto the battlefield. It has this creature's power and toughness reach equal to the number of experience counters you have. And we could actually use that because hopefully we will be getting experience counters with Kelsien. And so we might have experience counters to make these token creatures have a higher power and toughness from. The other way is Kalemni, Disciple of Iroas. White-red 2 other for a double strike in Bigi. Whenever you cast a creature spell with CMC 5 or greater, you get an experience counter. Gets +1/+1 for each experience counter you have. So we're going to have a double striking Vigilance 3/3 for 4 mana that's going to interact with the experience counters Kelsien's giving us already. So that's already excellent. Then, if we do kind of put a sub-theme of CMC creatures 5 or greater with Kalemni, they're going to bounce and give us even more experience counters. It's a great way to go with this deck. I think that both of these cards can absolutely be inclusions. You might just want to lean into their sub-themes just a little bit so that you do have some payoffs there. Like I said, that's the strong way that I would build a foundation for a Kelsien deck. Let's look at the fun way that I would pay off Kelsien, and that's with Obosh. Obosh as a companion is going to give us a 5 CMC 3/5 out of our companion zone. It's a one-time cast, but all of the cards in the deck have to be odd CMC and lands. So it's going to be a little bit of a deck building restriction. As you see earlier in the video, some of the cards do have even CMC, so you're going to have to find replacements for those cards. However, when Obosh is cast, it's going to act as this damage doubler for any source with an odd CMC dealing damage to a permanent or a player. It deals double that damage instead. So let's lean into that. What are some cards that we could run alongside Obosh that are 1, odd CMC, and 2, going to give us even further of a payoff? How about Karavik the Merciless? This is one of Jake's favorite commanders, if not his favorite commander. Karavik for 7 is a 5/4 that says whenever an opponent plays a spell, it deals damage to target creature or player equal to that spell's CMC. So, if we have Obosh on the field, Karavik's going to be dealing double that damage to any creature or any player equal to any spell CMC that our opponents cast. I love this as a payoff in this deck. Then also find some cards that double damage as well. Let's lean into that as a sub-theme, doubling damage with Obosh, our companion. Dictate of the Twin Gods, red 3/5, odd, CMC, flash enchantment that says if a source would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage to that permanent or player instead. So it is a unilateral effect. However, we planned for double damage, our opponents didn't. We know what's coming and we can prepare for it. That's a small example of how I would lean into the Obosh odd, fun CMC companion build. Companions are tough in EDH, but I think that if you can figure it out, you could get a huge payoff from it. Let's look at the mean way that I would build this deck to pay off, and that is land destruction. So the thought with this payoff is once you get Kelsien onto the battlefield, if you can get Kelsien Deathtouch and Thornbite Staff. So every time a creature dies, he's going to untap, and every time it taps, it deals 1 death-touching damage to creatures on the battlefield. That means we've got an infinite machine gun of murder with Kelsien. Once we've got that set up, if we destroy all the lands on the battlefield, we're controlling the creature game completely, and our opponents need time to rebuild so that they can find an answer for our Kelsien. Okay, hopefully we've put hexproof on him somehow as well, and he's just suited up, firing death-touching arrows, killing everything on the board. Then we wipe the lands out from everybody. That's probably us moving to scoop phase. Armageddon is obviously the best way to do it. OG, 1 white, 3 other, destroy all lands. Catastrophe, here's another way. Destroy all lands or all creatures. So this one can double as a creature removal too if you just need to wipe the board. Catastrophe would be a great way to do that. Bowl of Thran, here's a 6 cost, destroy all lands, and then players are going to get to return lands from their graveyard to the battlefield, and that's fine. What we wanted to do was take absolute control of the creature game and then wipe the lands out from everybody, it should open up the board long enough for us to take control and win the game. Price of Glory, here's a passive way to do it, and not a bad inclusion in a Mardu deck in my opinion anyway. Whenever a player taps a land for mana during another player's turn, destroy that land. Goodbye control players, goodbye flash, goodbye instant speeds. Don't do it, or the land is going to get destroyed. This is another way to keep those go over the top decks from going way over the top. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that with the means strategy and equipment strategy, we could possibly go infinite. I've talked about this deck on the channel before, but Godo Bandit Warlord combined with Helm of the Host equals an infinite combo that we can absolutely just win the game as soon as we go to the attack step once Helm of the Host is attached to Godo. It's a CEDH finisher. I think it could be fun as a 2-card in the game combo. You know, most playgroups allow for 1, maybe 2 infinite combos in decks as ways of just getting the game over so that we can go to a new game. And I think it's very mean to run a surprise Godo, Helm of the Host, put it on Godo, I go infinite, do I win? Seems pretty mean to me. Those are the 3 ways that I would build Kelsien in EDH. Let me know which way I left off and how you built your Kelsien EDH deck. One of my new favorite commanders from C2020, and I am very ready to hit the battlefield and start shooting some poison-tipped arrows every direction. Like I said, hit like, hit subscribe if you like the video and you want to see more like it, and let me know in the comments which commander you want me to build 3 different ways. If you want to support us further, we have a Patreon. The link is down in the description below. We've got monthly giveaways over there, and we think it's pretty cool. We think you will too. Go check it out and see if it's a good fit. And if you want to hang out with us, we're streaming on Twitch and YouTube all the time. Find us there. I'll catch you later.